That's so unnecessary. Sorry.
Dump that on.
I just your initial impressions of lifestyle.
Fabulous kid that loves hockey. It shows in how he plays. His skill obviously sets him apart probably from his peers, but for him, I think it's a great opportunity for him to come in and have a measuring stick with some NHL guys. I think this tournament's going to be a great thing for him too, to watch the puck go in the net, get some touches. He's played a lot of hockey. I thought he played really well in the lower juniors. I got the opportunity to watch a lot of his hockey. And, he's one of those players. He's exciting. I think who knows? He's a young guy. I think for him, he's just taking it day by day. He wants to learn. He's super inquisitive. He asks a lot of questions. And, real bright guy. I've been really impressed with him as a kid and obviously as a player for sure.
Is there anything you're looking for him to do in this tournament as far as getting inside or?
No, I mean it's way too early for that in his game. I think his growth is going to be his growth. I think he's, there's like all of us, coaches included, we have things to work on, and I think for him he just needs to play free a little bit, maybe not think so much, and that's what this tournament's a little bit about. There's going to be mistakes, we know that. We got to bend, but we can't break. But for him, just play free and do what he does. It's a great opportunity for him to, show us what his identity is. And I think, he's done a pretty good job at such a young age already kind of doing that. So, it's exciting.
I talked to him, I'm sorry for standing, I had that back here. I talked to him ahead of the tournament, and he said he added some weight, added some strength. Were you able to tell that today? Or?
Some of the guys, it's really evident. Like some of the guys that that I've had, like Jake. I saw Jacob Zaboral today. I didn't even really recognize him. He's full of muscle, and it's funny how bodies change as the guys get a little bit older. He's still super young, and his body's coming into his own. But he skates so well. I think that's probably what I was drawn to first. He's not a guy that would say, man, that exercise is going to serve him well. I see his separation from the puck and how fast he is. But he's played a lot of hockey, so it was an interesting tournament. I had a lot of friends involved in that tournament, and I think the one thing for some of the players was it kind of cut into their training time a little bit. So I think for some of those guys, they had to get back on track. He's a kid you don't really have to worry about because he loves the game so much. He's super committed. So I think that was probably managing his minutes in that tournament was probably a tougher thing to keep weight on, but he seems to look strong, look healthy, full of life. So.
You saw Beecher a little bit at the end of the season last year. Has he grown at all physically in any way?
Yeah, I think the one thing that when we had Beach, he was a little bit heavier, and the one thing he's done is I think he's cut some weight. And, we had a good Zoom session about 2 weeks ago, and he feels great. He was working out in Michigan, and I kept close tabs on Beach this summer. He worked out a lot with Stinik. Stinik is another guy that works extremely hard, and he was impressed with how hard he worked. And he looks really good. His skating always kind of stands out. So once I get the numbers from the strength and conditioning, that's usually pretty much the only time we can tell. But it's one thing putting the time in the gym and then it transferring to the ice. So that's a whole other part of it. So these three games that we're going to play, for guys like Beach, it's a great opportunity, to build some confidence, and that's what it's for.
With Fabian's skill set, skating, skill, hands, everything, and then you try and project out Ryan the experience, the time, maturity. Once those two meld over time, can you see?
Yeah, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that I have all the answers when it comes to the growth of a player. Nobody knows that other than people that are exposed to it every day. I think that's a big part of it. Seeing players go on and have success. Look at Marshy. I don't know I don't know what his first year was in Providence, but if the coach got up here and said that he thought he was going to be one of the best players, I would have been like, really? there's a lot that goes into it. I think he has a lot of the makings to be a player. So do a lot of the other guys too, right? I think, how you approach the game, how you approach every day, that's a big part of the growth of the player. I get the opportunity to see guys at such a young age coming into the league, and by the time they usually leave our league, they're totally different in regards to their maturity and how they treat the game. So I think he's already ahead of the curve in that department. That I asked him the other day, I saw him in the hotel, and he's like, I'm so excited to get to training camp. I was like, buddy, you just stopped playing in the World Juniors 3 weeks ago. So that's refreshing to see guys love the game as much as he does. So I'm excited for him.
Watson said about Beecher's skating and his size, but is there any other skill set that maybe has been underrated or kind of stood out to you last year when he was up in Providence?
Yeah, he came in, he played a lot of heavy minutes for us, probably more minutes than he was even used to. Part of that was, we were short numbers and we put him in a spot in a significant part of the season. I think there's a lot of things. There's a huge window for Beach to grow, and I think the biggest thing I see from Beach is that he wants to find different ways to score. He's got to find different ways, and it can't just be off the rush. He's got to find different ways that I talk a little bit about a bigger body like Chris Kreider and like at Taylor Hall that's really kind of evolving his game into net front tips, wraps, rebounds, all those kind of different ways you see guys scoring now, and he's got to just be a student of the game, and I think that's going to be one of his biggest assets.
Is he willing to use a shot?
It's one thing he's worked on. One thing we've talked a lot about is getting it off. And sometimes when you skate as well as he does, he thinks he probably has more time than he doesn't. The NHL, the drag, it's just not there. You got to get that shot off. You got to punch a lot of pucks. A lot of our young players have success in Providence, and then they go up, and it's a different level where the stick details are so good at the NHL level. They learn pretty quickly that you got to get shots off, you got to follow your shot. So he's more committed to shooting. So he's worked on it a lot this summer.
You have a lot of guys who can play center and wing. Is there sort of an effort there to say, no, we want Johnny to play center versus wing?
Yeah, I think he's a natural center. I think he feels comfortable in the middle of the ice, and he's involved in the play. He's somebody I think that's going to grow as a centerman. I think when you have the luxury that we do, that we have wingers that can play wing and vice versa, I think the way we play, we put a lot of stress on our centers to be good down low, and when there's that interchange where the wingers play low, it's only going to help their game. So it's a good thing to have to be both. You saw when Stutz came up, there's an opportunity to play on the wall, and guys go up, and there's an opportunity. I want them to be the best version of themselves when they go up there. So it's definitely a luxury.
Did you address them as a group today or yesterday?
Yeah, we had a good team meeting, Sweens as well, and the message was clear, and the one thing I think it's a great opportunity for guys to make some noise in this rookie camp, and guys, it's such a privilege to come and be a part of the Bruins family here for whatever it is. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's longer for some guys. It's different than other places, right? We believe in a lot of foundational things of being a good teammate, and that's pretty much what the message was today. Be a good teammate. We expect that. That's our foundation. So, the message was clear. I thought it was really good.
You mentioned Jackson. You've had him for a few years now. Where do you see him in terms of his progression? I'm sure maybe there's some sense of him of he's a pretty serious, committed kid.
Yeah, he's another guy, Flutes, that you root for. The one thing that got lost a little bit in translation when he came down to Providence last year was like he was on pace to have even a better year than he did his first year. So he got caught kind of going up and going down and fighting a little bit. I talked to Monty this summer a little bit about him, and I think I think the best thing for Jack is just to play free and let Monty make those decisions. You know, I always say it's different when you have players in the American League too. You know, there's a different expectation in the American League, so you know, it's not that you're always rooting for the underdog, but it's just a different level, the NHL, and sometimes you have to change your game a little bit. And I think that's one thing that Jack's willing to do. He's willing to do all those things that make him an everyday NHLer. So, you know, I know he's a great player, and Jack knows it too. He's just gotta put the tires to the pavement.
The 3 or 4 kids who are here as invites, how did they end up here?
That's a good question. They obviously, you know, I mean, our scouting department does such a good job of recognizing what's important to the fabric of us, and that's exactly what happened. Something stood out. It could have been a competitive trait, or maybe they played with a ton of courage, or you know, maybe they're a goal scorer. Maybe that stood out to them. But I think when you look at some of those guys, they all bring something a little bit different, a little bit of abrasiveness, and you know, that's something that us in Providence, something that, you know, we preach. We want guys to play inside and hard and competitive, and I think that's how those free agents end up here for sure.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, cheers.